Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman is finally here, with episodes 1 and 2 dropping on the same day. So let's talk about what went down in these episodes, what I liked and didn't like, and then come up with some predictions that I have for episode 3. And in case you're new here, welcome to the Crop Top Critic. I'm Alex, and I love everything movies, TV, and geeky related. And I want you to love that stuff too. So if you're enjoying this video, make sure you Superman punch the like button, and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything new. Some spoilers ahead, so be warned. First off, I really enjoyed when Superman officially met AI Jor-El for the first time because, Jor-El just taught himself English, and I was not prepared for how emotional I was gonna get for these two. Just from Jor-El showing Superman his past, the destruction of Krypton, that started to get the tear ducts warmed up, but then Jor-El went and called Superman Kal-El, and then he called him Clark, and basically told him how proud he is of him and how much he loves him. Superman really needed to hear that. He needed that closure from his birth family. It's too bad that the AI Jor-El dies. It would have been really cool to see more of him, especially now that he speaks English and we can understand what he's saying, but maybe he'll come back later. We'll see. And what this show is doing with Amanda Waller, she's being set up to be one of the big antagonists of this season, and this show is really doing her character justice. I was worried at the beginning of last season that she was just gonna play second fiddle to General Lane, but fortunately they switched that up pretty quickly. She's a great foil to Superman because they're on opposite sides of the spectrum on how to save the world, and she has this one line that just perfectly sums up what her character is all about, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it goes along the lines of, if a few pathetic humans must die in order to save humanity, then so be it. That's cold-blooded. Amanda Waller is going to be a straight menace this season. With Amanda Waller, we also got 2 new members of Task Force X. The first one being Damage, who in my last video I made the mistake of calling him by another character named Blockbuster. Sorry, this is actually Damage. Who is Damage? In a nutshell, he's just a big strong guy for Superman to beat up. But if you want a full-on explanation of this character, or any other character that appears in this series, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video about it. We also met Atomic Skull, I was definitely right about that one, and he's pretty dang cool. He was going in on Superman with those radiation attacks, and I've played enough Fallout to know that radiation hurts. I hope Atomic Skull as a character is similar to Parasite from last season, in terms of Superman having trouble fighting them because of their unique powers, but based on how episode 2 played out, I believe Atomic Skull is just going to be another punching bag for Superman as the season moves along, which is a little disappointing, but someone's got to do it. And Amanda Waller also has a new lead scientist for Task Force X in Lex Luthor. Of all the people that Jimmy Olsen could give a pep talk to, it had to be Lex Luthor. But I'm glad he was officially introduced as Lex Luthor, and we can start seeing the development of his conflict with Superman. And I don't think we're gonna see him as a major antagonist anytime soon, and I honestly hope that we don't. Let them build him up as a considerable threat first. Let him get his first company and create a couple supervillains of his own. And then, once he goes bald, then we know it's game time. I already know what step 1 of Lex Luthor working for Amanda Waller is gonna be, and it's the study of kryptonite. Because if you remember in the first episode, Deathstroke got a few pieces of kryptonite stuck on his sword, so I'm pretty sure Lex Luthor is gonna take that and study it in order to turn the kryptonite into weapons. I think this will eventually lead to a Lex Luthor super suit at some point in future seasons, but I have another theory on what this kryptonite will be used for, but I'll get into that later. Stay tuned for it. One thing that will always bring me joy about My Adventures with Superman is the adorable relationship between Clark and Lois. These two are so cute, and I want them to be perfect and succeed. Are they perfect? No, not at all, and I'll get into that later, but they just fit so well together. I know there's gonna be drama in the future episodes, but I hope that it's kept to a minimum. And I can't forget to mention Jimmy Olsen, who's now a millionaire and the lead of his own division at the Daily Planet. I'm so proud of him. He deserves that success, but just how this show puts that net worth meter of Jimmy's money already tells me that bro is gonna lose it all. And this is a very small moment in episode 1, but at one point they have to go to Star Labs, and my geek alarm started blaring like crazy because a major superhero that is connected to Star Labs is the Flash. I love how this show acknowledges these iconic DC locations because I feel like this is the show's way of planting the seeds in our heads of preparing us for the arrival of other superheroes in this particular universe. Like Gotham is already there, and now Star Labs, like what's next? Eventually, one of the heroes from the Justice League is gonna debut in this show. Not in this season, but future seasons. And from there, we're gonna start getting spin-offs, and then maybe we'll get a brand new Justice League cartoon. Like, oh, mama, that would be dope. For the most part, I really enjoyed these 2 episodes, and I only have 2 complaints. First one being, the Fortress of Solitude looks kinda whack. I understand why they went with this design. The Kryptonians in this universe love floating rocks and stones for some reason, but it just doesn't look as epic as the traditional design of the fortress. Maybe it will improve over time, maybe I'll just get over it, but we'll see what comes first. My second issue is that Lois Lane is already starting to show signs of trifling behavior, because her and Clark are adorable together, like that's a given, but I don't like how she is so against Clark finding his cousin Supergirl. It's only episode 2, so maybe her being scared of another Kryptonian is just her initial reaction, but so far it's not looking good for her. I just love their relationship so much, so any conflict that's created that could potentially drive them apart makes me frustrated. I'm like, oh no, don't you dare take this away from me. But before I give my final rating for episodes 1 and 2, let's talk about some predictions that I have for episode 3. So episode 3 is titled Full Metal Scientist, which I believe is a reference to the very popular anime Full Metal Alchemist, which I still need to see. And the summary for episode 3 goes as follows. Clark's life falls apart as the General goes into hiding in Clark's apartment. Meanwhile, Jimmy struggles with being a leader, and Lois goes toe-to-toe with Vicky Vale as they track down missing scientists. So there's a lot going on in that summary, but where my brain is taking me, it's making me focus on the title Full Metal Scientist, which is making me think that one of these scientists that go missing turns into something metal, probably into a robot of some kind. I believe Amanda Waller has something to do with these scientists going missing, but here's the thing, Amanda Waller has both kryptonite and Lex Luthor experimenting on it. So what if they take that missing scientist that's now a metal man or a robot, and they take the kryptonite? DC fans, you starting to smell what I'm cooking? What if we get introduced to Metallo? It definitely would be a different origin story for this villain, but My Adventures with Superman is no stranger to changing origin stories. And based on what we got from the first 2 episodes, and from the little that we got from the episode 3 trailer, I can definitely see Metallo happening. But what about you? What are some of your predictions for episode 3 of My Adventures with Superman? Overall, I'm super digging what My Adventures with Superman has done with these first 2 episodes, and I'm definitely excited for what's gonna come next. So episodes 1 and 2 are gonna get a solid 4 out of 5 crop tops. It's great. But what did you think of episodes 1 and 2 of My Adventures with Superman? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, click on the boxes right here, and I'll see you in a bit.